Hello, guys. Welcome to a Comics Unmasked special. I think we're at the point now where these are going to be a very sporadic thing, but when we get time to do one, we will do one. This week, we are going to be discussing Thought Bubble, the convention from a couple of weeks ago, as both me and Connor attended, as did Andrew, but Andrew is unfortunately not with us tonight.
Yep. No, it was good. I'm a regular Thought Bubble
It
attendee.
was
I've
my
only
first
missed
time.
one in the last handful of years. Yeah. So very different angles coming at this because I've been I think 2013 was my first one.
Yeah.
So I went 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 2018. I missed 2019, and then 2020 obviously didn't happen.
It's something I've wanted to do for years and just haven't. And I'm kind of gutted I missed out on the height of the Gilla McKelvey DJ party years, but
Those were those were quite something else. Yeah, there was one year where
I know.
there was a film festival on at the same time. So it opened with like, and then they did like a joint party essentially with the film festival, and they did a showing of Daft Punk's Discovery, music video album, like the anime
Yeah.
one. It has an actual name that I
Oh, is
can't
that the
remember now.
year you you went with like Pete and everyone went as well?
Yeah, yeah, they all came
I
along.
can
Yeah,
just picture Pete at that party being like,
he that first hour, particularly where you could give or take that hour where that film was on, he hated it. It's yeah, yeah, but I loved it. It's great. It was a good night. Yeah. No, Thought Bubble is always pretty great. Has a good reputation for that.
yeah, it was blast. Lots of art, lots of two new acquisitions for me. You can't quite see that one. That is a picture by Sarah Athelgreen and then that is The Spirit by Becky Cloonan.
Yep. I've got some as well that are waiting to be put up. You will see them
Man, I spent
probably next time.
so much money that weekend.
I did as well, although I spent less than I thought I did.
Yeah.
Um, about a week later, I was checking my pockets and I found a £20 note in there.
Ah,
I was like, oh, I guess I had £20 more than that I could have spent. Oh well.
got some original art as well.
You did,
A
yes.
Wonder
Nick
Woman piece
Brockshire,
by
right?
yeah, and a Hulk by Andrew.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah, I've got a couple of Brockshire
it's
pieces.
given
There's
me
one.
an original
Oh,
art kind of by. Oh, also got an amazing They Live poster of the John Carpenter film,
yeah.
which I
Which
rewatched last
you've
night
just
actually.
just seen, right? Yeah.
No, I've seen it. They Live I've seen before.
Oh, it was the thing
The
you've not
Thing
seen
I've
before,
only just
wasn't it?
seen.
Which
Yeah.
was bizarre
Well, that They
to
Live is
see.
the one I've seen, and The Thing isn't.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. When I saw you post that you were watching that for the first time, I was like, surely not.
I own it like 3 times. I've just never once put any of the discs I own in to watch.
I own it about 3 times as well.
I've
Most
got
recently
it.
on Apple TV.
I got it in a Blu-ray box set with the 2011 film.
Do not watch.
I've heard it's fine.
It's not worth your time.
It's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead in,
It does, and you know how much I love her, and it's still not worth your time.
but yeah, and I never got round to watching either because I'm terrible for picking up films, and I sometimes may watch them. They may just sit on my shelf.
I definitely don't have any like that.
There's a Arrow. I picked up it when Arrow released the film. I picked that up,
Yeah, I've got that version.
and then I've just picked up the new 4K version, and that's the version I watched. And oh my god, it looks good.
I've got a general release of it on Blu-ray. I got the Arrow release on Blu-ray, and I also just picked up the 4K cut on Apple TV.
Yeah. Oh, have they released it on Apple TV
Yes,
in the UK or America only?
in the UK. So
UK.
I don't have a US account.
Because it's a weird thing with a thing.
Well,
And
now
I
now,
swear when I
now
get
you're
back to
making me going to go
comics.
double check. I was
Because
like 80% sure.
they released the disc in the same style as the other John Carpenter 4K films with Matt Ferguson artwork. So
Yeah,
Studio Canal put out They Live, Escape from New York, Prince of Darkness, and The Fog. Studio
but
Canal don't.
this is a Universal
Yeah,
one.
Studio Canal don't have the thing.
Yeah,
It's Universal, but Universal released it in the same packaging, same design as
That was very considerate of them.
Yeah.
I just double checked. It is the 4K version on iTunes.
Nice.
So that is the one I got. Yeah.
I'm still jumping between physical 4K and iTunes 4K for my films.
I'm buying a lot of. Well, I say I'm buying a lot. I'm buying 4K Blu-rays when they're on good prices and just I'll have that. But also when they're on iTunes and they're like $3.99, and annoyingly Apple TV's quality for it is very good.
Yeah.
It's obviously not compared to a 4K Blu-ray, but compared to anyone else's 4K stream, or it's significantly better.
And is better than 1080, which is what 4K streams tend to look like. I'd say Apple's 4K stream is as good, if not better, than a 1080 Blu-ray.
Oh, it's better than 1080 Blu-ray.
While
I can.
A lot of 4K streams out there aren't as good as a 1080 Blu-ray.
Yes, because while technically the resolution of them is 4K, the bitrate's too low and they look washed out, and especially if it's a dark film or in shadows, it doesn't look great.
And what I tend to get is films I really want, like I pre-ordered Last Night in Soho on 4K. Even though I actually wasn't completely enamored by it, I liked it enough I want to watch it again, and I know it's going to look stunning on disc. Like, it's just one of those films that is going to make the most of a format.
There's some that I'm going to end up getting both. Like one of my favourite films, Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
I haven't picked up the 4K disc yet.
I have it 4K on iTunes.
I will, but it went on 4K on iTunes for $3.99 yesterday. So I was like, I'll have that and then just pick up the disc later anyway because it's $3.99. Oh well.
iTunes sales, right? You can get 4K films very cheap.
Yep.
Did you have an Apple TV then?
I bought one a few months ago mainly because their Apple TV Plus app is shite everywhere else. It fundamentally does not work. I tried watching Ted Lasso in 4 different places on different devices, and every single one of them it crashed. It just doesn't work.
Have you got the modern remote or the old remote?
The new one.
New one. So I'd say, like, because the only real issue with the Apple TV was that god-awful remote control it come with. Like, I think it's by far the best. It's also arguably the most expensive, but I do think it's the best streaming box around.
It is. Also, the new version with the new remote was cheaper than the old one, which was the main reason why I got it.
I mean, if you don't want to spend 160 odd quid on an Apple TV, second best I'd say is probably a Google TV. Like, not a Chromecast, but for Google TV stick puck thing they made that actually runs Android TV, which I have one and use for the usefulness of. I've subscribed to the Criterion channel, which is not a UK subscription service, and that's the only real way I can access it on my televisions.
Yeah, well, that's a shame.
But great subscription service though.
If
you like film, it's the best. One of the best 10 quids you can spend a month. Like,
no, that's not good.
It feels curated in a way that Netflix and places just aren't.
It feels like it's up there with like movies. Pretty good for that.
Yeah. Yes. I'd say there's more available on there than there is on Mubi.
Is that counting? Have you been on Mubi in the last year or so?
I would say even more than Mubi. I would still say Criterion probably has more.
That's fair.
And it's certainly a better way to search for things.
That's something that a lot of these services have problems with.
Mubi is so curated, it doesn't want you looking yourself.
That is true, yeah.
While Criterion basically every month has like a theme, and then smaller themes that they also put out, and it's.
But then on the other end of the scale, you've got Amazon Prime, which is impossible to find a damn thing on.
Going through Amazon Prime though and just finding what junk you can find is a fun game sometimes.
No, it is, but
like there is an awful lot of dinosaur themed erotica on Amazon Prime.
That should surprise me, but doesn't. Which does, lead me to swing this remotely into something comics related.
Yeah, we should probably get back to comics, right?
Right. I am terrified for the Comixology integration into Amazon for its UI searchability.
Yes. Can I? Before we go on to that topic, I would just like to say I have the best intentions of this being a thought bubble episode, but I realised I don't actually have all that much to say about it other than I enjoyed it a lot. And
Yeah, I think that it would have been different with Andrew because Andrew also was
Yeah,
a seller, participant, what, guest,
yeah.
whatever the correct term is.
Um, Exhibitionist. That sounds
Exhibition?
weird.
Yeah, yeah. I think technically correct though. Yeah. So he had a very different experience to either of us, but
We had some good
Somethable's
tacos.
great. We did have good tacos.
I made tacos the other night.
I was in town last week and a week before. It was a Thursday, and there's like a food hall kitchen sort of place up here, and
Yeah,
it's got like a bunch of different stuff. But there was a taco place, or well, I say taco. It's a Mexican place, tacos, burritos, whatever.
yeah.
And it was like, oh, Taco Thursday, pound per taco.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, go on then.
I like
Why
that we're
not?
starting to become places over here where you can get like tacos and not, not
Yeah,
tacos. Yeah.
yeah. And they were, don't get me wrong, they were nothing compared to the ones that we had at Thorble. But they were like reasonable. And
I
for a pound per taco, I was like, I will have six.
I made some chili beef ones the other night, and I
Mm,
made an entire chili to basically make six tacos, three for me and three for my dad. And like afterwards, like okay, I've got a lot of chili left. I guess this is going in the fridge. And the day after, I made chili beef hash.
sounds so good.
Had some frozen jacket potatoes, just cooked them, then chopped them up in a frying pan with the chili, a lot of cheese. And it's like it was damn tasty leftovers, man.
Leftovers are great. I've got leftovers for tonight. Love leftovers.
I've
But,
been slowly, weirdly catching up on some DC books.
oh, do share.
Um,
I spent last week when I had a week off catching up
Weirdly,
on basically all of mine.
I've been reading Fear State without reading Fear State.
You've been reading all the tie-ins.
Effectively, yeah.
Well, you're a Nightwing, Catwoman.
Harley,
Oh, really?
I like her. I like Stephanie Phillips writing, and I like Rosmo.
I despise Rosmer's art. That's no secret. And I mixed on Phillips's writing. Some stuff I like. I don't like. I do not like this book. Even the writing of it.
Yeah,
Putting Rosmer's art aside, I do not
I am
enjoy
very
this.
much liking a Harley that's back in for DC, like because
As opposed to this is the Suicide Squad Harley or the Amanda Connor Palmiotti one where it was off just like doing its own thing.
yeah, I'm liking Harley as part of because the Palomati kind of Harley is almost an Elseworlds because it doesn't actually match anything that was going on anywhere else at the time.
No,
Like,
but at the same time defined Harley for basically what modern Harley is.
and I'm glad Harley is no longer in the squad
Yep.
because again, it becomes hard to go. How is she a prisoner in Bellevue? And also,
You know
and
how they're getting around this though, right? They're just publishing a million Black Label Suicide Squad books that all have Harley on the team, and
yeah.
it's like, well, that's fine because they're all out of continuity.
To be fair, the main book seems to resemble the latest film a little bit.
Uh, it does a little bit, yeah. It's got
It's got
Peacemaker in
Peacekeeper in
there,
it.
and
That's
got
probably
a
about
couple
it.
others.
Yeah, but
I can't even remember. I'm not reading it.
yeah, I like Harley
But
as part of Gotham. I like Harley as a hero in her own way in Gotham.
Mm,
I think
I really
Harley.
enjoy it.
I think setting up Strange as a Harley villain is a brilliant idea.
I have not been enjoying what they've been doing with Strange very much in that book. I will say I do enjoy Harley being in Gotham and kind of being pseudo good. I've really enjoyed, especially what Tynan was doing in his Batman run, where that's kind of what re-established this
Yeah,
status quo for Harley as being kind of a member of the Bat family now.
I've decided I'm also reading all of. I've slowly added Gotham books to my pull list over the past couple of
Hmm.
days. It was originally going to be, oh yeah, I read Nightwing. I like Nightwing. I'll carry on reading Nightwing.
And Tom Taylor, right?
Yeah, and Batgirls obviously was going to read Batgirls. I was never not going to read Batgirls.
Obviously.
And then slowly it's like, oh well, I saw what they were doing with Batman. I'll have Batman in. And I like
Batman.
Teeny
Oh,
Howard.
that's the Williamson
Yeah,
doing Batman Inc. stuff, right?
yep. And it's like, oh, and I like Teeny Howard, so I guess I'm going to throw Catwoman back in. to the
I'm
mix.
intrigued by that one. I don't know. I've not read enough Teeny Howard. I've liked what I've read of Teeny Howard, but I've not loved
I think
anything.
the
So
only
I'm.
book that isn't the only Gotham book not on my poll, and it's technically not a Gotham book, but it is a Gotham book, is Robin.
What about you jumping in detective for this Shadows of the Bat 12-week event?
Yeah, I think I am. I wasn't going to, but
Yes, Detective Comics every week for the next 3 months. I think starting
12 weeks. Yeah, it's
January,
not
I
Shadow
believe.
of the Bat is the in between story, right? Isn't it the Tower?
Oh, maybe I don't. I don't
I think
remember.
Shadow of the Bat is basically the name of or maybe Gotham itself is Shadow of a Bat because Bruce isn't there,
Let me have a
and
look at the DC
Detective is doing
solicit.
the Tower.
DC solicits. Come on, Newsrama. Don't let me down. I know you're shit these days, but come on. Detective. Yeah, the Tower is. I think Shadow of the Bat is the overall thing. The Tower is maybe the name of it
Yeah,
in Detective. Yeah,
those
I'm a
covers
little bit
though,
mixed
those kind
because
of photorealistic covers look gorgeous.
yeah, who are those covers? Probably these is. That's not the Mayo ones, is it? No, no, definitely not. Irvin Rodriguez covers are the ones we're discussing here.
I think that was what clinched it. I saw him on Forbidden Planet because I'm getting all my comics through Forbidden Planet at the moment, and I've
Hmm.
gone fully back into physical for some reason. I don't know why. I think I'm more inclined to read them when I've got physical comics than I am just them. Just they just build up on my iPad and I never always get round to them.
Yeah. No, I get that. I have so many things on Comixology that I should read, but I just don't. But when there's a
Yeah,
physical stack next to me, it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling guilty now. I will start working through it.
I need to catch up on Action as well because on your recommendation, I decided to throw Action to my pull list starting from January. And I just need to catch up on the
Did you read the Future State issues?
yes.
Right, okay. That's fine then. They're not essential, but I would say it's a good benchmark of like, okay, this is what to
I
expect from
read
this run.
Superman first. Not super keen on that. Oh, new Superman, I'm enjoying Tom Taylor Superman. I'm all about that 3 issue arc.
Oh, where they go to the other planet?
Yeah, I also don't get why we kept Superman around for 3 issues before just launching the Tom Taylor one. Like, it feels like a.
Yeah, because they wanted a second Superman book for 3 months,
Yeah, and it wasn't ready to
I guess.
launch.
Yeah,
And I guess
I don't
it
know.
does
It
set
was
up.
fine.
It kind of
Yeah,
sets it up,
that
yeah.
that stuff was fine, but Action Comics doing the War World saga, that stuff is
Is
shaping up to be special.
Superman and Authority important to it all as well, or
I would say not
is it
particularly.
is it Clark in that like normal Clark?
Apparently, I read most of that book. I think no, I've read that book. It did not feel like it was Clark. It felt like it was because so originally that book was going to be one of the 5G books
Yeah,
that was written as a 5G book, and it's kind of been retroactively smushed into it.
I,
When we read that first issue, the way it opens, we were like, "Oh, this is definitely not continuity. This is definitely just an alternate future thing." And then I can't remember if it was at the end of that issue. No, it was in the last issue of Action Comics where it was like, "Oh yeah, this all happened in Superman and the Authority. Go read it and catch up." And it was like, "What? What? That was continuity?"
DC is doing a lot of like, hey, read this issue stuff at the moment.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Superman and the Authority, it was fine. I think you could get away with not reading it, and
Yeah,
you would be pretty okay. I think Action Comics does a good enough job of keeping you up to speed of everything you need to know from that book. Basically, by the end of it, Superman's leading a version of the Authority. That's kind of all you need to know.
I'm a sucker for Manchester Black, so I might pick it up in trade.
Yeah, and
Like
Morrison's solid.
my favorite Superman issue is what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way.
Hmm. It's very good.
Yeah, and but yeah, I'm definitely back on the DC bandwagon for Gotham, and I'm very excited for that Black Label Wonder Woman book that's coming.
Trial. No, no, Trial of the Amazons.
Uh,
It's the one starting this week, isn't it?
Wonder Woman Amazon Historia.
Historia. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one. We that was announced probably 2 or 3 years ago now.
It was.
It's been a long time coming.
It was
This.
announced when she was writing Aquaman.
Yes. Um, I think it was like one of the
Because there was a
first Black
whole
Label books
there was a whole
announced.
Kelly Sue and Faction in the DC Universe thing. Because Faction was on Jimmy Olsen and
Yeah,
Kelly Sue was on Aquaman. And then this was announced a long time aside it, but it's just been.
it was a long time. I'm just even find when it announced. I mean, there's things talking about it in November 2020.
And it was announced before then.
I think it was announced before then. Yeah, unless this article is the announcement, but
It was radical.
no, that's a
Apparently,
forum
from
post.
early buzz, it's game changing for the medium.
That is very high praise.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
but
I
yeah.
am
So
excited to read it. I think it is out as we record this right now tomorrow.
shall we, for a bit of fun, shall I log into my account and shall I tell you my current pull list that I've
Oh
settled on?
yeah, I will judge your pull list.
As of effectively, I'd say this is the pull list as of January. So
Okay,
not
so
everything.
like kind of
There's
going
issue
forward.
ones that aren't out yet.
Yeah. That's fine. No, I've been just while you get there, I'll just I've been catching up on a lot of my comics. I've been kind of slacking lately. I jumped on my Marvel Unlimited and kind of read through probably a couple of months worth of Marvel. I'm still a bit behind, but I'm getting there on that. Some damn fine books. Some damn fine books. Yeah. Black Widow remains great.
Comics are so good right now. Like
I'm trying to think
they,
what
they
other
just are,
Marvel
aren't they?
books. Yeah, what other Marvel books have I been enjoying lately? Obviously, Donnie Cade's Venom kind of came to an end. I say just came to an end. For me, it just came to an end because I'm at least 3 months behind.
That first
But
issue of Viewing and V.
I've not read yet.
Have you seen how they're writing it going forward?
Yeah, they're splitting. One of them has one character, one has the other,
Yeah,
the
and
kid,
issues are
right?
going to be based around like there's a big bumper issue, and God, that first issue was thick.
Yeah, but
And
then they're
then
taking it in turns, like
yeah,
issue by issue, right? I think they said occasionally there'll be issues where it'll be more like the
almost
first one.
like Hawkeye handled Kate after she moved to LA.
Yeah, it also reminds me of what when DC was first kind of getting into the double shipping game at the start of Rebirth, with what Rucker did with Wonder Woman,
Yeah, yeah.
where you had the Liam Sharp present day stuff, and then you had the Nicola Scott year one stuff. Even though, okay, technically that's a little bit different because it was the same writer, but in the sense of they were essentially two separate books, following two different storylines with two different teams
So,
essentially, and just it was just one book though.
are you ready?
Yeah, I
This
will
is in
judge as we go.
alphabetical order as opposed to any kind of publishing order.
Okay, okay,
Action Comics from DC Comics.
yes, very good.
Amazing Spider-Man from Marvel. Because I'm
I
really enjoying
fell
what
off.
they're doing right now.
Oh no, who's
It's weekly again. It's a
weekly again? Yeah,
it's a writer's room.
I might jump back on now that it's weekly. I'll
And
see when that started.
Ben Reilly Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Pete,
I
Pete
read the who was the run before that
Nick
just
Spencer.
ended? Nick Spencer. I've read probably about 50 issues of that run before I was like, do you know what? I'm
Yeah.
bored of this.
Peter's in a coma.
Sure, why not?
Spoilers, I guess, for the past few months of Amazing Spider-Man.
No more than you'll find on any headline
Yeah.
on Newsarama, though, I guess.
So, and then effectively it starts with Ben Reilly coming back to town, and a shady-looking corporation called the Beyond Corporation has hired him to be basically corporate Spider-Man,
Okay.
and something caused Peter to fall into a coma. And Peter's still a character. Like we get scenes of Mary Jane and Aunt May in the hospital with him, and like Peter's
He's
not
in a coma.
out of the book. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
also hired by the Beyond Company is Misty Knight and Colleen. You know the Daughters of a Dragon.
Yeah. I want to say Wing, but I'm not
Colleen
sure.
Wing, yeah. And they're training him, but they're also working undercover for not Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel's. She was in WandaVision.
Oh,
Like I can name DC characters to my heart comes home, but
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau. Yeah, they're kind of undercover for her, trying to figure out what the Beyond are up to. It's a full-on. It feels like reading a TV show in a good way.
Okay. I will
It's
probably check it out.
it's
I
very
will find out
much
when that started and when it gets unlimited.
it's very much a writer's room style of writing.
There's been some good ones of that, like the Star Trek Year 5
I think
writers' room book has been
as a
pretty
character,
solid.
Spider-Man just works for that as well because he's a very soap opera
They've
character,
they've
right?
tried it a couple of times in the past, kind of before Dan Slott's big run. He was obviously part of that writers'
And I
room.
think that one is great. The problem why it's marred is because it comes from them wiping out his marriage and things like that.
Yeah, probably went on a bit too long as well, I think.
Then Arkham City, so that's technically 3 books a month, arguably 4 because they keep throwing in a one shot for the 4th month. That is
Yeah.
sometimes one of Marvel's weird point issues, and sometimes just a completely standalone one shot. Like just pick.
hmm
I'd rather the standalone one shots than these weird point issues that I have to remember to buy. Like,
Do Forbidden Planet include them automatically for you?
no, they're classed as separate
Oh,
one shots, which I
those
think is probably
bastards.
the right way to do it because they
But
are.
also, yeah, like because I know like my shop, OK Comics are pretty good at stuff like that. You know, they'll use their judgment and be like, look, if you're buying this, you're gonna want this issue, so they'll
Yeah,
just kind of put it in your pull. And obviously, you can get there and be like, "Do you know, what? I don't actually need this issue. I don't want it, whatever." But
yeah,
generally
that is the
speaking, they
benefit
will.
of a personal touch of an actual comic shop.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say the first one was a issue about the Daughters of the Dragon, and it was great.
When did that start?
We're about 2 months in.
As okay, so another few weeks and I'll hit unlimited and I'll jump on that.
Next up, Arkham City: The Order of the World.
So good.
Still only read the first issue, but that first issue was so good.
Yeah. Oh man, that book is killing it.
If anyone's wondering, it's an Arkham Asylum book, effectively, but um, reminds me a lot of the David Hine stuff post Batman's death,
I can see that.
which
Yeah,
was also
it's
stuff I
really good.
really liked. Batgirls, no issues out yet, but I'm very excited for that book.
Yeah, obviously you've not been reading Batman, so you didn't have the backups.
I
You
may
had the
have,
little bit in
I have,
Nightwing.
I've read the backups.
Okay. Um, those backups essentially functioned as a zero issue,
Yeah,
and I'm very excited for this book.
so am I. How? I understand that we're on Batgirls. How is your fellow co-host over at DC feeling about it?
Uh, Matt obviously was always on board. Pete is surprisingly very into it. I think he was worried when it was announced because they kind of described it as this all ages thing, and he thought it'd be kind of light and fluffy. But the reality of it is, tonally, for anyone out there who is interested, it's a continuation of the Brian Q. Miller, Stephanie Brown book,
Yeah,
book for
that's
all
what the
intents and
backups
purposes.
definitely feel like.
And assuming that the main book follows on from the backups, which, given that it's the exact same writers and artist, the whole creative team is unchanged, I have no reason to assume that the book will change from those backups, is a spiritual successor to that Brian Q. Miller Batgirl book. So if you
Yeah,
enjoyed that back, 2009 to 2011, one of the best Batgirl books ever, then yeah, you will enjoy this. I'm pretty safe in making that assumption.
unless you maybe Pete.
Well, thankfully, right now he is enjoying it. The backups, anyway.
Yeah,
So
good. I'm glad because they're two of his favourite characters, and it'd be bad if he didn't enjoy their first book in
yeah,
a
that's
long
how I
time.
feel when Bendis is the one handling bloody Doctor Fate right now.
So next up, Batman, which we're returning to
Okay,
Bat. But basically, it feels like Gotham's returning to what for me is like prime my favourite era of Gotham in a lot of ways.
late 2000s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
like
even
like
yeah, late 2000s.
like 2007 to 2011, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, because Batman Inc.'s coming back.
Hell yeah.
Yep, so very excited for that. Joshua Williamson's taken over from
Tynan.
Tynan Fourth. Yep.
Yeah.
Next up, Batman the Knight.
Which one's that?
It's the Zdarsky 12-issue origin story.
Oh, that one. Yes.
Because there's no way I'm not reading a 12-issue Zdarsky Batman origin. Like,
Yeah. I'll be checking that out for sure.
then this is a wild card because I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it, but I've picked this again. It starts in January. Ben Reilly Spider-Man. It's a mini-series that's basically, I think, designed to tell the clone, or like the clone arc from Ben Reilly's perspective.
Oh, okay.
I think it's serving as a Ben Reilly origin story for anyone who's potentially, like me, picked up
the current Spider-Man run and never really knew who Ben Reilly was.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since he's been a regular feature in those books.
And it's been
Probably a
written
smart
by,
thing for Marvel to do.
It's been written by James DeMatteis, who, is always a reliable
A staple. Yeah.
art by David Baldeon.
Yeah.
Then Black Widow.
Obviously.
Yeah, you've
one
heard
of
us
Marvel's
both
best
talk
books right
about
now.
Black Widow a lot. It's Marvel's Birds of Prey.
Essentially.
Black Widow creates a team of agents for all intents and purposes, and they try and right the wrongs in San Francisco.
And it's fun.
Has a favourite character of mine in it that hasn't been seen in years.
Who's that?
I read her stuff in digests that were coming out roughly the same time Runaways was. A spider person.
Okay.
Spider powers. May have gone under the codename Spider Girl at some point.
Okay.
But one of the lesser known ones that kind of had a great, like, all ages book and then just kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
Catwoman. I'm picking back up because I like Tina Howard.
I'm very intrigued. It's got a lot to live up to after
like
this
the new
Rambo
logo.
run. Yeah, looks good.
Catwoman Lonely City, which the first issue was...
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's
Cliff Chang on basically everything.
It's Cliff Chang's kind of old lady Selena, essentially.
Yes.
And it's
I love how
phenomenal.
old lady, old man has become a catch-all for comics now. Like, even
Yeah,
though
but
No,
if someone
works.
says that, it
you know what
conjures
they
an
mean.
image. It's shorthand. I assume anyone who's listening to this reads enough comics to understand that shorthand.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Knights of Steel, which I read the first issue of the other day. And I have thoughts on this, actually, so we're going to pause for a second. Spoilers for Dark Knights of Steel.
The book made for me.
Yes. Is Tom Taylor just basically flipping his Injustice run?
Yes.
With Batman now as the villain and Superman as the...
I'm not sure if I'd go as far as to say as Batman is necessarily the villain.
No.
But yeah, I mean, possibly.
But it's fantasy DC.
If the idea of it's DC in a fantasy setting appeals to you,
I would say,
then this book is for you. If that does not appeal to you, it will not change your
I
mind.
will also say, if you like DC, if you like D&D, you'll like Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah, this feels aimed at the people who like that like that Critical Role audience.
Yep.
They'll probably enjoy this.
Next up, possibly one of the greatest comics currently on stands.
Okay,
Department of Truth.
I'll allow it.
Because it's just that good. Are you all caught up yet, or?
I am. There's a new issue this week, right?
Yeah, we're in the in between arc,
which is something I have grown to love from the modern image model.
Yeah,
because there are two versions of the modern image model, which is one team, one writer, one artist, so on, and they have that arc. They have a break for a few months, and then they come back and do the second arc. And then the second model is you have the arc, the main team, and then so the artist can have a month or two off. You have, we'll do a couple of standalone issues or a little 2-3-parter with a different guest artist.
And the kind of issues that can end up being people's favourites.
Yes.
Like the Department, I was concerned at how like the legs on Department of Truth, like it felt like it was ramping up to such a definite conclusion.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I had nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
They hit what it felt like it was ramping up with a confrontation with the villain, like we were gonna get there, and then it's like just pulls that rug from under you, right? Like
yeah. Oh man, such a good book.
the whole notion that, and again, okay, spoilers of Department of Truth second arc. Mute us for a minute, and I'll wave when I finish because I do think this twist is worth what I want to talk about it. The whole idea that America, because of course America did, created a tulpa out of Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, how could it not?
Yeah, and he is the one in charge of the Department of Truth, not whoever Harvey Oswald actually was, right? Like, it's like, of course.
Yes, the idea, it's the ultimate manifestation of the idea being the reality of it.
This book is so Matt as well, right? Like, not Bear Matt, the Matt who kind of podcasts with, because like this is his perfect book. I keep trying to get him to read it.
Oh, I made him read Once a Future, so I'll make him read this.
But yeah, like Department of Truth is just so good.
Yeah,
and spoilers over.
Just before I forget, I don't know when this is going out. I don't know what will still be on sale on Comixology, but just
I am intending to get this up this Wednesday.
On the off chance that it is still on sale, I don't know when the sale ends. Boom have a great sale right now where you can get the first 3 trades of Once and Future, which brings you basically up to date, more or less.
I'm a little bit behind. I fell off Once and Future, so I could do with catching up on it.
The first trade is 79p, and the next 2 trades are 159 each.
Which, is actually
so it's like a $1 and $2 respectively, I assume, in the US for full trade. So you could be, I think it's 18 issues for about $5. So no one has any excuse not to get it.
Yeah, it's definitely, what I've read of it is definitely worth it.
That's phenomenal.
Next up, we've already discussed it, so I'll skip on past it. Detective Comics.
Yep.
Then a book that I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying, and I know why I'm enjoying it because of who's writing it. Eternals.
Yeah.
It's so good, and it's definitely a Gillen makes one of his own books in the Marvel Universe as opposed to Gillen writing the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, which he has done.
From the bit that the Earth is the narrator for these books, like it's a crack, and is doing the Image method
of having the kind of the one shots in between arcs with fill-in artists, because Asad Ribic is
one shots and not
great.
Point issues.
Does Forbidden Planet include those one shots automatically?
Nope.
Yeah, of course not. But I can respect that because it's not issue 7 and 8 respectively, is it? They are separate things.
If you're someone who the Eternals has never quite hit for, I would say give this book a try. Hey, this is you can also consider this a Christmas list.
Kind of is, yeah.
Yeah, my pull list can be your Christmas list.
Yeah, I would say grab issue 1 on Comixology, perhaps.
Yeah.
If that doesn't appeal to you,
it probably won't.
The book's not going to win you over, I don't think, if that first issue doesn't speak to you.
If it does, you'll probably like the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's making the Eternals work. The Eternals don't work. That's the biggest problem with the Eternals, right? They don't work within the overall Marvel cosmology that well, outside of Thanos being one of them, and he does work in. Yeah.
It's very much just Kirby doing his own thing, and they were like, I guess this is Marvel Universe now.
Also, Gillen playing with Thanos is pretty great. Harley Quinn next. We've discussed that one already, so no need to labour on it. Then up is Hawkeye, the new miniseries.
Am I reading that? Has that started yet?
No, it's not started yet. It's this week's first issue.
Okay. Who's writing that?
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's Kate Bishop, and I want more Kate Bishop books, so I will buy it to make sure I get more Kate Bishop books.
I suspect we might talk about Kate Bishop after this.
Yes, that is my final topic for the evening.
That's fine. Basically, I'm going to go through your pull list. I want to throw in a couple of extra recommendations.
Yep.
And then we will talk about Kate Bishop.
The Kate Bishop book is by Marieke Nijkamp and Enid Ballum.
I don't know who either of those people are.
No, and I may have got those pronunciations wrong, so apologies if I did.
Is it out already?
Maybe in America. I know it hasn't hit over here yet.
Okay. Ah, yes, came out last week for the US.
But I'll buy a Kate Bishop miniseries because I want to see more Kate Bishop books.
Is this an ongoing?
It's a 6-issue mini.
Oh, a Marvel learning that they can actually do 6-issue minis and label them as 6-issue minis and
Maybe.
not feel ashamed of
Because
it.
the new Miss Marvel one is also a 6-issue mini.
Because that's very un-Marvel-like, traditionally speaking.
Next up is Homesick Pilots, a book I very much enjoy. It's an image book. Ghosts, Mecha, Power Rangers. If
Yeah, that's
90s. If those buzzwords make you think, oh yeah, I want to read that, you probably do. If they don't do anything for you, you could probably skip it.
that's the Dan Waters
It
book
is,
with
yeah.
Casper Wingard, right?
Yes, it's very. Wingard's art is great. I'm enjoying Waters as a writer a lot.
Yeah, we've already obviously mentioned him. He's doing
Arkham,
the Arkham
yeah.
book.
And then House of Slaughter,
Yeah, okay.
which is the spin off from Something is Killing the Children.
Which I assume means something is killing the children, or will be later down this list.
It will, yes.
Yeah.
Uh, it's very good. There's no reason to read it if you're not reading Something is Killing the Children, so I won't labour
I
on
want
it.
my deluxe copy. Damn it, Amazon. And I keep thinking, oh, maybe I'll cancel it and order it at Forbidden Planet. And Forbidden Planet keep pushing their date back, so I guess there's stock issues.
And then a book called Last Session that I picked up just because it's a D&D themed comic, and I was like, sure, I want to give that a go. Then a one-shot, Mary Jane and Black Cat Beyond, because that issue is coming out as its own one-shot as opposed to a point issue.
Yeah, sure.
That's on my pull list for that 1 month. It doesn't really count.
Yeah.
New book coming from Image in January called Monkey Meat.
Is that meat as in meet up with people, or meat as in what you eat?
What you eat. It is
Okay.
It is been described as it's both drawn and written by Juni Barr, French, I think he's French. He remember when TKO did the young adult books and they released
the one where they released Scales and Scoundrels, and they did the other one with it.
That other one, yeah, it was by him. And this is about this is an anthology series set in an island where it's capitalism gone wrong. It looks fun. I like his art style, so I thought, let's give it a go.
I'm just looking at it now.
Then New Burn, the Zdarsky Phillips crime.
Oh, yes, that just started?
Yes, first issue was great.
Okay, cool.
And they're going to have different backups as well each arc to highlight other kind of creators. But the idea is that New Burn is the cop, the mob call. He's not a cop, he's a PI, but he's an ex-cop, and he's who the mob call to solve crimes.
That's cool.
And the police know about him and will let him in and things.
It's interesting how we had a long time with like the Brubaker Phillips being kind of the only consistent high-profile crime books on the shelves, and now it seems like there's a few more popping up.
In general, comics have genres again. Well, I rephrase that. Western American direct market comics have genres again, which all starts. I think Saga is the reason why. Ultimately,
there was a long time where it was still just superheroes or sci-fi.
Yeah, and even then, sci-fi was not overly common. Usually your sci-fi books would be IP.
Yes.
Like Star Wars or Alien or...
Yeah. But another one of those.
Nightwing, Tom Taylor, it's very good.
Yep.
Then I have put One Star Squadron in my pull list.
Oh, God, yes. I'm so excited for this book.
Mark Russell, Red Tornado.
And it's Steve Lieber on art, right?
Yes.
Oh, my God. It is basically... So... One of my all-time favorite runs is the I Can't Believe It's Not the Justice League. From the late 80s, early 90s kind of I want to say Giffen. I think it's Giffen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That Justice League, the B-tier Justice League book without the one without Superman and Batman.
And this looks like it could strike that.
And I want that team back. And I haven't started yet, but I'm kind of getting a lot of that team in the Tom King Human Target book by the look of it. But that's presumably a Tom King book doing the Tom King shtick, which is probably good, but also I want that kind of offbeat low-key comedy,
which Mark
and
Russell is very good at.
Mark Russell will bring. And I suspect I'm going to get kind of the book that I want in One Star Squadron.
Next up, Rush, which is a book from Vault, a Cy Spurrier book, a creepy horror western.
Is this the one he just announced last week?
No, this is out.
Oh, okay.
I've got the first issue upstairs, but I've not read it yet.
Okay.
It's one of my 3 issues I've got to catch up on. Saga. Let me just check who the artist is of Rush.
Is Saga back?
Yeah, did you miss that?
I knew I saw it was coming back, but I still assumed it was a while away.
January.
Oh, fair enough.
Nathan Gooden on art for that Rush book, because artist should be credited too, guys. Yeah, Saga. I don't really need to say anything about that. I don't think it's back.
It's one of the most influential modern books.
It's still $1.99. It's still $2.99. So a $1.99 comic over here, the Forbidden Planet.
I respect that.
Yeah, it's literally probably the only comic on the stands priced at that.
Not true. I believe DC's Scooby-Doo books are still priced at that.
Then the new She-Hulk series.
Oh, who's doing that one?
I know Jen Bartel's doing the covers. Oh, Rainbow Rowell, and then Roge Antonia on art. It's what she's doing now. She's finished Runaways. The art of a writer.
Not cool.
And I believe it's an ongoing, not a mini.
There's a lot. Basically, when it comes to Marvel books, especially ones like this, where I'm like, maybe I won't buy it, but I have Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
I will check it out 3 months down the line, or at least I will give the first issue a try, because why not?
One of the other best books on the stand at the moment, and if you haven't guessed, I am a big Tynan fan. Something that's Skin of Children.
Yeah. We kind of lump them when we talk with House of Slaughter, right?
Yeah, which is what if Buffy was made today, and not by Joss Whedon.
Yeah, I want a copy. I want my deluxe copy.
Funny.
I want to start reading it. God damn it. It looks so good.
It is. Superman, Son of Kal-El.
Yep.
Is very good.
It has been very good. I think for me, it's not been as good as Action Comics, but it's been very good.
I like that because of his background, we're getting a Superman who's like, you know what? No, I'm not going to take the kind of higher ground here. You're a bad person and you need to be stopped, and I'm just going to stop you. I like that kind of whole, like...
It's very different.
I'm not going to take the, like, oh, I've got to play... And I like this Clark saying to him, like, you have a stake here in a way that I don't. Like, I am always going to be the kind of outsider who has to kind of potentially
be above it, but you're like one of them in a way that he's not. And I appreciate this book is finally giving John his own identity as a Superman. Don't get me wrong, he's had his own identity as a character. But if he's grown up now, which thank you, Bendis, I guess he is, and he's going to be competing for that Superman mantle, he needs to set himself apart from Clark. His
interactions with Damian in that issue 1 were still like...
Yeah.
I'm okay, I think, with him being aged, if this is what we're getting out of it.
I still don't like it as much, but I'm over it. I'm not bitter. Not at all.
I put this in my box on random, and I read the first issue the other week. The Thing miniseries that Marvel is putting out at the moment, by Walter Mosley on writing it.
Oh, yeah, I remember you saying it was really good.
And who's on art again? Tom Riley on art. Look, it's so good.
Yeah, I remember you saying the other day when you read it, and I was like, oh, okay, again, it'll go in the Unlimited list.
Venom, which we've discussed.
Yep.
Wonder Woman Historia, which we've discussed. And then one more comic from Image. Rosenberg and Boss's new comic. What's the Furthest Place from Here? Which is the post-apocalypse set in a record store.
I hate that appeals to me because I'm very hit or miss on Rosenberg.
Did you ever read any of his other stuff with Boss? Or his other earlier stuff like We Can Never Go Home?
No.
It's very much in that vein.
I've only really read his Marvel and DC stuff.
His in his own his creative own stuff is quite different. I think you'd enjoy it.
I might give it a try. Yeah, of
Also, you can get deluxe versions of that come with vinyl records.
course you can.
He's had artists make singles for each issue.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, that's my pull list.
Things that I would just briefly recommend, some of which are over enough that it's probably not worth jumping into the singles at this point. It might be worth just jumping on trades. First up, Nice House on the Lake.
I need to get back onto Nice House on the Lake. I've got the trade order because I fell off of issues and I've.
It's doing essentially the image model, the first
Yeah.
image model of taking a break between arcs. So it's currently on its break right now. So it's halfway through its first
I
first
guess
season.
I should count Ten and Substack as being on my pull list as well.
Pine and Substack is on my list as well. Yes. But yeah, so there's that. The other things I would really recommend right now are a couple of Black Label books that are either an issue or already an issue in, and a lot of these Black Label books are in like 3 issues anyway, because they're like the prestige, oversized every other month.
The Catwoman
So-
that I mentioned, Catwoman Lonely City, is one of those books.
Yeah, so maybe worth waiting for the trade on these. One of them has only had 1 issue, one of them's had 2. So the one with 1 issue is Robin and Batman.
Good. That's for Jeff.
Jeff Lemire with
yeah.
Dustin Nguyen is just phenomenal.
Early years Dick story, right?
Yep, that's exactly what it is. It is basically, Dick becoming Robin, essentially. It's he's already with Batman, but he's not Robin yet.
Serves as like a new Robin Year One, or would you say post Robin Year One?
No, it's if anything even before Robin Year 1 in some ways.
Yeah.
Like at the start of this, he doesn't have a Robin out. He's with Bruce. He's living with Bruce. He's been training for months, but he does not have the Robin outfit or the name yet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where this is set. First issue was spectacular, and the other one is it's a Batman one, because of course it is. A lot of these are
Black Label, named after the colour of Batman's cloak.
Yes. Well, they could have gone with purple, I suppose.
Yeah.
What is the name? I'm completely blanking on the name right now. Let me just find it in my list.
Blue. I love a good blue Batman cloak.
No, they are quite good as well. It is Batman. Where the bloody hell? There it is. Batman the Imposter.
Oh, I saw it and
It's not what you think.
It felt very Nolan.
I thought that when they were describing it. It's not.
No.
I can't remember the name of the writer from the top of my head. It is Sorrentino on art.
Yeah.
So it looks phenomenal.
The writer is the screenwriter of a new Batman movie.
He is, yes.
Yeah.
They kept this book. They were selling it as, oh, what if Batman was set in the real world, right? Like they were selling it as this Nolan / Kick-Ass style.
It ceases
of, like,
to function.
setting.
That's what happens if Batman is set in the real world.
Technically, that is true, but it's not. What this book is what if Leslie Tompkins took his psychological issues very seriously and made him come to therapy with her?
Oh. Well, no.
Yeah.
See, you picture like that, and I settle in. I love Leslie Tompkins.
That's what this book is. It is very much she kind of figures out this is Bruce, and is like, no. You're going to come to me every morning at sunrise, and we are going to talk, and we are going to have therapy sessions every day. And if you don't, I am going to expose you to the police.
See, I like that.
But at the same time, someone is dressing up as Batman, hence the name The Imposter, and killing criminals. So Batman is trying to clear his name as well as going through these therapy sessions.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds brilliant.
Phenomenal. I recently watched Midnight Mass. I don't know if you've seen that yet. The Netflix Mike Flanagan show. My favorite points of that show are the kind of essentially the AA meetings, where it's 2 characters in a room and they sit and they monologue for 10 minutes, and it's phenomenal. And this book has that same vibe for me of just this conversation, this deep, intense conversation.
Yeah.
And I cannot recommend it enough. It's two issues done. I think there's only 3, but we basically had that, Robin and Batman, and Catwoman, Lonely City all in the space of like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And oh my god, so good.
Okay. So yeah, that's a stuff that's worth reading at the moment, I guess.
Yeah.
I was going to call this the Thought Bubble special episode, but I think I'm going to label it Comics Unmasked the pull list.
The pull list, yeah. But yeah, those are the things that I would definitely recommend right now. On top of, I've given my opinions on all of your pull list already. I've got tons of other stuff, but those are the priorities.
Okay, so to close off this episode then.
Okay, Bishop.
Yep, Hawkeye has hit Disney Plus. The first 2 episodes, as of us recording this, Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop. A perfect piece of casting.
Right. For context here, for me, the last Marvel thing I tried 2 episodes of WandaVision, but I didn't really. I was just doing it out of obligation to review, but I wasn't excited for it. I didn't enjoy it. The last Marvel thing I watched before that was Endgame, and even that I watched 6 months later, and I didn't care about. I watched it because I was like, well, I might as well watch Endgame. Infinity War was the last time I went to. I actually was like, I will go and watch a Marvel movie, and that was the one that broke me. I have not been excited for any Marvel thing in a long time. But you give me Steinfeld as Kate Bishop, and you very clearly are adapting this Hawkeye run, the Fraction and a Half run, that is spectacular and phenomenal, and one of my favorite comics.
Couple of
I'm
things.
gonna cave and watch it.
Couple things I would like to say. I will come on. I am fully up to date on Marvel. I watch every film. I'm probably in the throes of but I also don't. I have a limitless card. I don't pay to go to cinema, so why would I not go? It's 2 hours out of my.
Right. I have not. What are the ones I've not seen? I've not seen the last Spider-Man movie, which was. I think that was after Endgame, right? Or was that before Endgame?
After Endgame.
Yeah. So I've not seen that.
It's okay.
And that, to be clear, that's the second Spider-Man movie, not the third one that's just coming up. In case you're listening to this in a month or two,
I'm gonna go over this year's 3 films. I think way more interesting stuff is happening in Marvel TV than it is in Marvel film at the moment. At least in locally.
Yeah, because you had what, Black Widow, Eternals, and Shang-Chi?
Black Widow is a film that certainly got made and exists. Florence Pugh is great as Yelena.
Who is, I believe, showing up in Hawkeye.
Yes. Black Widow ended with the new secret end credit villain that's building. Is it Victoria Hand? Madam Hydra? I don't know, one of those. Basically says, hey, do you want to go kill Clint? He did kill your sister.
Yeah.
Then Shang-Chi is very, very fun.
I've heard a lot of people have either two opinions on this. Either it's very fun, or the first half is very fun, and then it becomes a generic Marvel movie.
It has the third act boss fight problems, but I kind of accept that as a problem with the genre in the whole. Like, that's unfortunately kind of happens in superhero movies at the moment. Can they be better? Yes.
And I want better. I'm demanding better.
You're not wrong, but it's how action cinema is right now.
Yeah. Hopefully Batman can break that trend.
Shang-Chi is good, and there's enough good in Shang-Chi to outweigh its typical third act slump.
That's fair.
Eternals generally does strike for something different, and is a rather interesting film. Ish.
Yeah,
Not interesting enough.
I will concede Eternals looks very different to every other Marvel movie.
I think Eternals doesn't please anyone because it's probably not different enough to please the people who want something really different, and it's not the same enough to please the people who just want the exact same thing.
That's fair. For me, I want something different. I would be accepting something different. However, the particular different that this is, which is a Chloe Zhao movie, is something that I already know I don't enjoy that much of. Which is fine. That just means it's not for me.
And then
I just not to watch Chloe Zhao movies. That's okay.
WandaVision, I very much I loved.
I respected, but I was bored of it.
Yeah, I, that, yeah, that's fair. Falcon Winter Soldier was fine.
That was always looked to be the most generic. It's a Marvel movie split into 6
Yeah,
or 5, whatever they did with it.
there's some nice character work in it.
It feels like it's possibly one of the more essential ones to watch, given
Yeah,
where that left it for the state of the MCU. Right?
Loki is what if Doctor Who happened in the MCU, and it's fun.
Which might have been exciting if Flux didn't happen this year and became like the best Doctor Who in a long time.
Which I'm going to put pause because I'm going to ask you if you want to do something after we finish recording.
Okay.
And then, yeah, Hawkeye is now on. And I guess you've got What If as well, but I haven't finished What If yet.
But
Hawkeye,
oh man.
those first two, it's probably going to end up being more like Falcon Winter Soldier and the other two more interesting TV shows, but I just love Kate Bishop.
I love Kate Bishop is my favourite Marvel character.
And this is Kate Bishop.
This is Kate Bishop. Like from the start, it's like, do you know what, like, to sell Kate Bishop to someone who doesn't is because people are like, oh, she's Hawkeye, right? So you're thinking Clint. It's like, no. Kate Bishop is teenage Oliver Queen.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's what she like. Because people always go, "Oh, Hawkeye and Green Arrow, they're like the same thing." Like, and yes, they're both archers. Yes, they both have a color scheme, right? But they're not actually comparable as characters.
Thing is,
I think Kate Bishop is actually quite similar to Oliver Queen.
Kate Bishop's fingers also, and it's where this show may fall down. Kate Bishop's fingers, she's the more put together Hawkeye, right? Like, because
yes,
here's where we reach the problem of the MCU going with ultimate top assassin Hawkeye as opposed to talented schmuck.
Kate now has to be the less put together one by nature of what they've done with Clint.
Yeah. And
which I think is okay right now, as it's essentially a Kate origin.
But and I think this is the last we're going to see of Clint in the MCU.
I will be surprised if we see him again. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he dies in this.
I don't think he will because I think they want him to get home to his family.
I think they probably do want him to get home to his family.
Say how much? There is one thing I really like about the dynamic of MCU Clint, and that is like how good of a husband he is, as opposed to Marvel Universe Clint. In the fact that it's such a superhero trope, right, to keep things away from, but his wife clearly knows every minute detail of his life.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing hidden. Like, it's like the moments where he's like, oh, I'm going to try, like, and he mentions one of Nat's moves, and she's like, that's one of Nat's moves. Like,
I don't know how much she knows about the Ronin stuff, though.
I got the feeling she knows it all.
She might do. Like, I wasn't 100% sure.
And then that opens the whole
way.
thing, like, why should she okay that her husband decided that he was going to get therapy by just murdering people? But
you gotta do what you gotta do, honey.
But then it's Thingy playing her, isn't it? Like, and she's a great actress.
Yes.
Lisa Connelly.
Yes.
And yeah, Clint MCU is just a void of personality. Like,
but the question is that Clint MCU, or is that Jeremy Renner?
Hey, Jeremy Renner had an app, man. He had an app.
He's got a country album.
Yeah. Like, I like little touches like we got the hearing aid.
Yes, I quite like that.
Because Clint in the comics is like hard of hearing.
Yeah.
He is a disabled character, which is nice.
It is. And
nice might not be the right word, but you get what
good representation, is what you were trying to say there.
Yes. But Clint in the comics is like the biggest hot mess imaginable. More so than a lot of superheroes. He is like just a disaster on legs.
Yeah.
He can't hold a relationship together. Like, all his exes are rather fond of him still. They just...
They're like, oh, yeah, it's Clint, isn't it?
Like, it's that issue at the start of the Matt Fraction run where Bobby, Jessica,
Nat
all kind of show up, and it's just like...
And he's just there going, what are you all doing? Yeah,
and it's the
great.
fact that in the comics, obviously, Kate is forced into this, like, because she is also a hot mess.
Yeah,
Like Hawkeye's in general, not well put together people.
it's the defining trait that allows her to have the name. It's not the archery.
Yeah, but
But
it's
no.
the fact that Kate is still almost the parental figure out of the two when they're stuck together.
Yeah. And I think this might get there. But here's the thing, like even not that she's not quite there, it's so clearly Kate Bishop.
Yeah, like when she falls through the roof at the end of the second episode.
Oh man, like just everything
I
about
guess
it is
we've
like
got spoilers for Hawkeye here, guys. We're gonna probably.
yeah, I
Or like the
guess.
start of the first episode where she brings down the bell tower.
Oh, so good.
Because it's such a good shot, it's such a genius move, and then it's like, but not thought through. Like, it's clearly intelligent. The Hawkeyes are intelligent dumb.
But intelligent but not wise.
Yes, high intelligence stat, low wisdom stat. If we
Yes.
were D&D characters,
Yeah, that is it. And I love them both. Mainly the comics Clint, not really the MCU Clint, but Kate obviously. Oh yeah, and I don't think the show is that special. I think it's well made.
Yeah.
I think that first episode especially went in so fast because it's like 45 minutes. I was watching it.
I like the mystery for building up.
Yeah, it's solid. But
Have you-
I was watching it and I legitimately thought I had a good like 15, 20 minutes left and the episode ended.
Have you reviewed them for Fuzz or?
No, Pete didn't because I kind of tapped out of all Hawkeye.
Yeah.
No, I tapped out of all
What did
Marvel
Pete think?
stuff.
Because I know he's also tapped out. He's just doing that out of some kind of obligation.
I'm not 100% sure. However, in the Mild Fuzz Discord, one of our listeners, because I missed this week's episode of Comics from the Multiverse because of work. One of our listeners posted, what a surprise. I'm 11 minutes into this week's Comics from the Multiverse and Pete's already whining about Marvel TV shows.
He didn't like
Which
it,
says to
then.
me he was not that impressed.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the thing is, like, it's fun. This is just a fun action TV show so
maybe
far.
the fact that I've gone so long without any Marvel things, it kind of it's kind of reset the palette a bit. So this, even if it feels, if you watch all of it, maybe it feels cookie cutter compared to all the rest still. But for me, it feels relatively fresh.
The
because
fact
it's been
that
a
we've
long
got
time.
4 episodes to go though, and we've got to do whatever Yelena's appearance is.
Yeah,
Echo,
I'm excited for Echo. I'm a big
Yeah.
Echo fan.
and there's even rumours, and I don't think they're gonna come true, but there's even rumours that Daredevil's in this.
Yeah, we'll see.
And here's where there's problems with him. Sure, I saw people who like I quite like Eternals, but there's people who didn't who were like, oh, but think about all the stuff it sets up. It's like that is not the nature of a good movie.
My co-host Matt is one of those people, and this is what baffles me, personally speaking, about the MCU is I feel that is the phrase that comes out every single movie. Oh, but I'm so excited for what it's setting up to next. I'm like,
but thing is, it doesn't even set these up in the movie. They're just post-credit scenes.
yes, every single Marvel movie, probably going back to Civil War for me is the one where I started feeling this. Is where they're not movies anymore. Not really. They're the next piece of the puzzle. They're the next episode of the show. Not one of them is actually, for me, fulfilling in itself.
Like post-credit
It's always
scenes,
just but this is what's coming next. It's always that perpetual motion, and it's unfulfilled potential.
post-credit scenes are fun, but they don't make a bad or a good movie. They just exist at the end of the movie.
Yeah, not if you ask people to watch Eternals. They made that movie worth it for some people.
I mean, again, spoilers for Eternals. It's Harry Styles walking on stage as like Thanos' brother. I mean, the most interesting thing about those post-credit things for me was like, oh, so the MCU are making Thanos an Eternal.
Yeah, but for everyone else, I say everyone, but for a lot of people, it was like, think of what this sets up, the potential. And like I said, for me, Marvel, the MCU is unfulfilled potential. Every movie, it doesn't matter what it is, it's just it's fine, but guess what's coming next?
See,
And
I
that's
don't
how I feel
inherently
every
think-
single time I've watched one for the last
I don't inherently
6
necessarily
years.
think it is, and I know I'm less bored of them necessarily than you are. I think some of the films are perfectly fine, but I think it's how certain section of the audience are reading for films, or certain section of the audience are experiencing.
I think that's possibly fair.
films.
That I think as well as I don't think.
And I
Right,
don't
I
think
should
there's a
say,
wrong
I
way
don't
to.
think.
If you enjoy getting hyped on the potential, you do you. Like, if that's what you get a kick out of, that's fine.
Right, and I want to say I don't think they're necessarily bad movies. I don't want that. I think there's a couple of them are bad movies, but on the
Yeah.
whole, I don't think they are bad
I think
movies.
there's a
I
couple of
think
them
they
that are
are.
good movies as well.
I agree. I think on the whole, though, they're just average movies that are fine. That I'm kind of personally
We've
bored
said
of.
it before, we've said it again. It's the McDonald's of cinema.
It is, and
Like,
if you like them, carry on liking
I
them.
think
I don't
the
care.
reason I
But
feel more exasperated this year with them is because of how dry cinema has been this year.
you haven't had something like the interesting stuff to offset it.
Yeah,
And I do wonder as well if having almost year-round Marvel TV as well
yeah.
kind of adds that feeling of
That
there's a
is
lot of
at
this
least
now.
more interesting.
Sure, it might be more interesting, but also it's more just there's a lot of Marvel
No,
now.
but
There's
I'm
a
wondering.
lot.
But I'm also wondering if the TV being more interesting
Makes the
can
movies
throw into
stand
stark
out more.
contrast how, say, Black Widow is very.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I can't say
Yeah.
like I go to the cinema, I watch these, and I can't say I don't have a good time. I do. I enjoy my time in the cinema with them. I have no desire to ever watch them again. The other end of it.
And that's the moment where I stopped watching them. Is the moment where I watched. For me it was Infinity War, where I got out and went. I didn't enjoy that. I did not. I felt like I wasted my time.
See,
That was the moment where I watched Endgame eventually, just because I kind of felt like
I
obligation to finish that
I never
era, I suppose.
feel
But
I've wasted my time with them. I do sometimes wonder if I'd feel I wasted my money if I didn't have
Yeah.
a limitless card. Like, I certainly don't know if I would be as on top of them if going to cinema. If there wasn't a cinema literally around the corner from where I live, and B, I have unlimited visits to said cinema.
I think it says a lot that I have Disney Plus. I'm paying for it anyway,
Yeah,
and I
you've not
still
watched
haven't
them yet.
watched any of them.
I'd, I would say give Shang-Chi a try. Black Widow is going to annoy you, but Shang-Chi I think you might find fun in.
I mean, maybe if I'm really bored one night, but
Like, out of stuff that's on there at the moment, Disney-wise, like from this year, I'd watch Shang-Chi over, say, Jungle Cruise or Black Widow.
I'm way more interested in Jungle Cruise because I heard it opens with Metallica, and I'm like, well, now I need to see this.
It's a live-action Disney film.
Some of which I have enjoyed.
Yeah, in the fact that I actually enjoyed Cruella thinking about it.
I didn't see that one yet, actually. On live action Disney films,
Do you want to watch an Emma Watson heist film?
I really do. I probably would
But yeah,
like
whether
Cruella.
it's based on Cruella or not is kind of beyond the point.
Yeah,
It's a Cruella. It's a.
and you
it's
meant
an
Emma Stone, I believe.
Emma Stone, yes, sorry. Yeah, I get my Emmas mixed up. An Emma Stone fashion heist film.
Hey, that appeals
That
to me.
just so happens to be draped over the framework of it being Cruella.
Yeah.
And the
But-
whole ridiculousness of Dalmatians murdered her mother.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
That was a thing. I think we've spoken about that before. That was a thing.
Yeah, that was a thing. Like, in the cinema, like, that happened. It's like, you know what? I don't care what happens in this film now. It's weird enough that it gets my...
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of movies from this year anyway. I watched Dune last week. Oh, God.
Jungle Cruise is... I think Jungle Cruise is like... The Rock has built up such a persona for himself that I don't buy him as the romantic lead.
I've heard a few people say that.
Yeah. Like, he's so, like, The Rock.
Yeah.
Above human.
Yeah.
That, like, yeah. But, yeah, I think on that note, comic-related things, I'd say probably one of the heaviest comic issues in a while because I just read out a pull list.
It was like, these are comics that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Just that was a fact. And
Oh, I did on an end though, I read a Lucky Luke comic the other week.
oh, this is the one you shared the
Yes, it's like
bit off.
a modern interpretation on Lucky Luke, I think it's meant to be, like, in a similar way to, like, you've got those Disney Master stuff in Europe where they just give artists an attempt to take
Yeah, just go wild.
Mickey Mouse, yeah. It's very good, man. I've been playing Red Dead Online, so I've been in a very Western mood.
That'll do it.
Yep, I'm loving that game, man.
On Comixology, I believe.
Yes, only a couple of quid as well.
No, I may have to check it out.
But yeah, on that note, we'll see you again whenever the next episode of Comics Unmasked is.